Yo, 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 my people. Stop chasing after who doesn't value you. If they don't value you, they do not care about you. They do not respect you. You want to be valued in a relationship. You want to be respected. And if you have to chase them, you are doing the exact opposite of that. You are validating the chase. You are reinforcing it. You are making it so that the other person is okay running. This is why my name is the Mutual Man, because interest must be reciprocal. It must be mutual. When you have to chase, you slowly lose your self-respect. You give up pieces of yourself for the relationship, whether it's romantic, platonic, family, friends. If you have to chase after them, you lose yourself to whoever it is. Chasing means you are pedestalizing someone. You are placing more value on them than yourself. This can turn into people pleasing, being a yes man or woman, doing things you normally wouldn't in order to get a relationship, in order to get a person. But all this does is sabotage you in the long run. You can get a person that way physically, but emotionally, things will not be balanced. When you have to chase, you create relationships built upon validation. You seek people's approval. When you get that hit of validation, it feels good. It feels amazing. You are finally getting their time, their attention, their energy. But this validation always ends. The hit wears off and you go back to normal. The lack of connection becomes apparent because validation cannot build a good connection. Connection is more about respect, not simply the approval of another person. By chasing, you actually feed the disconnect. You reinforce it. You make it so that the disconnect is something normalized. This is why a lot of men end up in dead-end marriages, in dead-end relationships. They continuously chase whoever they're going after, whoever their partner is, whoever their wife is, and they end up feeling disconnected in the end. For women especially, connection matters a lot. They must be emotionally connected to who you are as an individual. For men, this matters a little less. Men are more external. They are more logical rather than emotional. That is simply how we have evolved and adapted as different genders. When we chase, we also become performative. We start acting out of character. We start acting in ways in order to get the other person's approval. We may start to mold ourselves into what we believe is the perfect partner for them. But by doing so, we lose ourselves. We lose our self-respect and we become more disconnected not only from the relationship but from ourselves. Chasing also creates a power imbalance. It gives more leverage to one party over the other. This is extremely unhealthy for relationships. It should be towards the middle. It'll never be completely equal, but things must be relatively mutual for them to be happy, for them to feel good and secure. Plus, like I said, you will have to keep chasing after them. The chase doesn't suddenly stop. Once you build a relationship around the chase, you will have to maintain it that way. This is where love bombing happens. A man chases a woman extremely hard, he gets her, and then suddenly he stops, and she's like, what the F? She thought she was getting love bombed, and he was just chasing what he believed he should. In the end, it was actually a validation-fueled relationship. He ended up getting the validation, so he stopped. She gave him what he wanted. Validation itself is a form of control. It is a form of comfort. So when someone chases, they must maintain that chase. It is how people control the relationship. They keep high interest in one person and low interest in the other. It is how they keep them hooked onto the relationship. The chase itself can also be a form of comfort. A lot of women especially love being chased. They love the fact that someone's showing high interest in them, even if they don't show it back, even if they're unattracted to the man. They enjoy the fact that someone is seeking their approval, seeking their validation. So they will lean into that. They will enable it. They will be okay with it because that is where they feel safe. That is where they feel comfortable. But the chase leads to a lot of burnout. People who chase feel drained. They get their energy completely sucked away. This can lead to a loss of resources, status, what is external and internal. Emotions will feel drained, money will feel drained, status will feel drained, character will feel drained. Everything will feel drained by chasing. Cortisol levels will spike, stress levels will spike. And what makes it worse is that the only thing that makes them feel good in these moments is the validation of the other person. So they will pursue it even harder. It only reinforces a negative cycle of chasing, of devaluing oneself in another person's eyes. It trains the ego to chase through constant stress and validation loops, which creates anxiety, depression, sadness, insecurity. It amplifies these, especially if they were there beforehand. And it can make a person extremely reactive when their ego gets challenged, when it gets destabilized. This can upset the soul. It can make it extremely sad. A person ends up slowly losing their authenticity. They give up who they are at their core for another person in order to chase them. It creates extremely toxic dynamics. Ones where the person chasing can be extremely messed up. They can have a lot of resentment because they have to chase. It feels like the person is never enough. They are inadequate. What you must do is treat everyone as an equal. Chase what chases you. Pursue what pursues you. Express interest and see who reciprocates. Do not try to prove yourself for anyone else. If they like you, they like you. If they don't, they don't. There's also a difference between showing interest and getting to know each other versus chasing. Chasing is actively trying to prove oneself. Getting to know each other is simply getting to know each other, understanding who each other is and seeing if you're compatible. Chasing forces compatibility. The key is to keep everything relatively balanced. Power may shift slightly depending on the relationship, but when things are relatively mutual, when they're relatively equal, people feel good. It feels like a partnership rather than a competition, rather than a performance where people are trying to prove themselves. What you want is love. What you want is respect. You don't want to devalue yourself. That will only make you feel less of a person. It will only make you feel worthless. Have some self-respect and do not chase. Go towards what reciprocates, not what runs away from you. If they're already running, if you're already chasing, it's usually not a good sign. Relationships are nice and rewarding, but you having yourself, being content with your life is always the best. If you want to learn more, I have structured guides on the website in the description. You can also book one-to-one coaching calls on there. Anything on the website is how you can support me and my channel, my content. Subscribe, comment, like, and hit the notification bell for more. Drizzle, freaking drizzle.